And we are back. Good afternoon, everyone. It's your favorite therapist, Lily Duby. And we're back. I haven't been here in a while, so happy to be back. I'm going to bring some information today about Roe versus Wade. So, for all of you all who I know, okay, so I know many of us know what this means, like as of today, that in most states, abortion will become illegal. But today, we're going to break down the whole Roe versus Wade. We're going to start all the way from the beginning and make our way to what's going on in today's time. So it's gonna be a lot of information. Hopefully, it's information that you can use, information that you did not know at first, and that you now know. So I did a lot of research. And like the good Bible says, when you seek, you shall find. So I did find a lot of things that I did not know as well. So I'm so excited to bring this information to you all. So I'm just going to give it a couple minutes or so to let whoever wants to join, whoever wants to listen, make sure that it's streaming, and make sure we're on and ready. Uh, but in the meantime, like I said, this is your favorite therapist, Lee Doobie. Um, Please like and subscribe to my YouTube channel, your favorite therapist, Lee Doobie. And also check out my website. I am the owner of Devalier Consulting Services, LLC. We do offer therapy services. We offer groups for anxiety, depression, and um, grief groups, and also parent management training. And we do offer a free 30-minute, free three okay, so free 30-minute consultation. So just to see, so you can find out more information, to see if we are the right fit for you. So just check out my website, and of course it's for the individuals in Florida. So kind of specific. Sorry, that's where my license is. Um, so I think I covered the housekeeping. We value consulting services, book for a free 30-minute consultation. Subscribe. YouTube, your favorite therapist, Lily. You can find me under that name. And the ones that have been here on my channel before, welcome back. To the new people, thank you for coming. Like I have mentioned previously before, I talk all things mental health, so we'll be talking about all things mental health. But I know you're probably asking, how does this have to do with mental health? But in my opinion, this is gonna have a huge impact on mental health. Um, Well, and if you want to see how this will have a huge impact, just stay tuned for my show, and I'll break it all down. Like I did say, we're gonna start from the beginning, and we're gonna come to present day. Um, so just stay with me. It's gonna be a long live because I have a lot of information to share. I did a lot of research, so we'll be here for a while, but it's okay. And if you can't catch all of it right now, you're more than welcome to come back and catch it at a later time. So um, I'm just going to give it to maybe one more minute for everyone to get on, and then we'll get started. Okay, thank you. Okay, and I'm back. So, I think where I'm going to start at first is this is from history.com, so pretty credible website. And we're just gonna, like I said, I'm gonna take us all the way back to the beginning. So, just share my screen. I'd like for you all to follow along with me. So, give me a second. Let me share my screen. We got here. So, this is where we're going to begin. Let me make sure. Hold on. Just trying to make it so it's bigger. So, why you able to look at the title and everything and kind of get. I'm getting ready to go here. Let me go turn on my. Yeah, I'll be right back. Okay, so we are back, and I hope I'm clear. I can't really tell, so hopefully it's not like muffled. So I think I made my screen big enough for everyone to see. So let's just. So the first thing I'm going to go over is. Oh, before I begin, I just want to say that this live is not to take sides, whether pro-life, however. This video is not intended to take sides. I will just share with you all the information I found on the topic of Roe versus Wade. I'll share the information, and that will be that. So it's not say one, um, you know, it's, I'm not. I'm on this side, and this is the information I'm providing. I'm just here to simply give the information I researched. So this is for educational purposes only. This is, um, and that's it. So this is just for educational. Not even know Roe versus Wade is, where it came from, or any of what it means for present day. So it's here to provide the information, and we'll go from there. So the title, the criminalization of abortion tactic. So states abortion was common in the 19th century. This was written by Eric Blackmore, May 15, 2019. The original was January 2nd, 2018. So if you wanted to read it for yourself, you're more than welcome to go look it up. Always, the reason I bring lives in, uh, reason I do these type of lives is just to education to my community, right? Because me, even as a level professional, right? A lot of things that I do not know. For example, if I have a topic that I want to bring live and I start to research the information, I realize that a lot of things, as stated, someone with 3 degrees, I don't even had no clue. So I want to be able to break this down for my community, break it down, and let them know, what I have discovered, in doing the research. That's the reason why I like to bring these type of lives. I already read the title. Let me just go over again and make sure. Up the letter Kansas newspaper in the 1850s, you would see an ad for female pills that were Sir James Clark's. Um, these pills, the advertiser bragged, were ideal for bringing on women's periods. Oh, and before I go any further, I just give a trigger warning. I will be talking about abortion. Trigger warning. I will be talking, well, I will be using the word abortion in this live. So if that word triggers you, please do not watch this live or watch with caution. Trigger warning. The word abortion will be mentioned in this video. Okay. So it says, those brag, they were bringing on women's periods and were particularly suited to married ladies. Why won't let me go past this? I'm not trying to share this. Okay. Then there was Madame Costello, a female physician who took out an ad in the New York Herald in the 1840s. She advertised to women who wished to be treated for obstruction of the monthly period. So who wish to be treated for the obstruction of the monthly period. Okay, so just think about what that means. Think about uh, one. Okay, so I do apologize. I did get an important phone call that I had to take care of, so I do apologize for that. So let me go back to where I was at. Let's get into Let me just make sure you get the content. Okay. All right. So let's go. Um, so it says we were on the Adam Costello, a female physician who took out an ad, and so we already covered that, and she instruction for the monthly period. Both ads ran in plain sight among advertisements for real estate and time. Um, both advertised abortions and difficulties. So we're at 1840 now. Like I told you previously, we were going to start from the beginning and we're going to work our way to current time. So it says both ads were in plain sight among advertisements for real estate and advertising and advertised abortions. And for a reader of the time, neither would raise an outright. Pregnancy was dangerous and the consequences faced by unwed mothers were severe, which I'm the type of person I love history, not all history, but some some aspects of history I just love, and I love doing research. And I did do some research on pregnancy back in maybe the 1800s, but I won't share what I found. I encourage you to do your own research, and I always encourage you to do your own research. I don't just share what I found, but I encourage an individual to find their own information because you know you never know what you might find on your own as well. Okay, so it says though the 19th century is seen as a time or more restrictive social mores, abortion was actually common. According to at least one estimate, one in every five women at the time had an abortion. So that's one in every five. So that means if you had five women standing in a crowd, at least one of those women have had an abortion. And this was 19th century, so this was like 1800 and something. So just to break it down, to be more visual, if you had five women, out of those five women, at least one of those women had went through with that. Aborter vaccines were hawked in storefronts and even door to door. Vendors openly advertised their willing ones. In private, women share information about how to prevent conception and induce miscarriages. Then things changed, thanks in part to doctors determined to make abortions their round. During the second half of the 19th century, American physicians intent on overseeing women's reproductive health campaigned to criminalize abortion, sending a common practice underground. So this happened around 1800s. And like I said, you're more than welcome to do your own research. So what is it? So it says one of the reasons abortion was accepted at that time, at the time, had to do with Americans back then thought about the human body. Folk in medical wisdom felt that the body was a place of equal. If something occurred, if I can get the word out, to throw the body out of balance, like the cessation of a woman's menstrual period due to pregnancy, it was seen as a problem that needed to be remedied. Doctors encouraged women to sleep, their periods were delayed, and women commonly took Emin, emin, that word. I never heard of it before, but this word right here. Drugs designed to stimulate menstrual flow or use herbal remedies and folk practices like laying in bed with brain on their period. Okay, just 1 second. I need to take care of 1 second. Okay, okay. I do apologize. I'm doing this live as you know, I am also a therapist, so sometimes my clients might call in and I have to get to them as soon as possible. so, but let's go back to where we are at. Let me reshare my screen. We're gonna get through this. We are going to get through this. Um, and let me just make sure. Okay, so we will see it. Okay, so where were we? So it says, basically they were saying that things like when you're not having your menstrual period, it basically throughout the body, the when woman's body's equilibrium. So, and it was seen as a problem that need to be remedied. So designed drugs to stimulate menstrual flow or use herbal remedies and folk practices like laying in bed with hot bricks to bring on their periods. Because back in the day, they felt that if you were not coming on you, it was like break your body off. It messed up your ego. If this didn't work, a woman could buy patent medicines like Sir James Clark's female pills, which contain all of seven. Let's just see what all seven is. I'm aiming to see what comes up, if any. Uh, uh, so here it is. Let's see what you all see here. So let me stop this, and then let me share what I just discovered when I push all of seven. It looks like it's still available. Um, so it says, oh, I guess it's just a presentation slide. It says job motives abortifacient pills will contain an alpha rectangular small mold blown bottle, also called the Great English Remedy. Sir James Clark celebrated female pills. With such products, 19th century women induced abortion in the privacy of their homes. The active ingredient all of seven, which was used for years to to procure an abortion. In U.S., an abortifacient since 1857, it was said to be responsible for a great many deaths. Okay, so there's that. I just okay. Right. So, and I'm not gonna go too much into the all the statement. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm having so many interruptions right now. Oh, I'm not gonna say. I'm sorry. It was. I'm just taking care of things that need to be taken care of. All right. So I'm going to let you all do the all the statement, research for yourself. Give me a Okay, y'all. Hopefully, I can get through this. We still got a lot of information to cover. I'm sorry. Sorry, I'm just having to take care of it. All right, so let me go back to share my screen, and I'm gonna have to edit this from this file. All right, go back to share my screen, so we can go back to the. Okay, so all right, so let's go back. So it says the female pills contain oil of saving, and then you could just go do your own research and find out about pills, uh, specifically in the 19th century. Um, or it says she could be a doctor to get an abortion. In the mid 19th century, there were few female physicians, but some women billed themselves as doctors anyway and specialized in women's health, contraception, and abortion. One such woman was Anne Lohman, who terminated countless pregnancies as Madame Riedel during her 40-year-long career. Though Lohman had no formal medical training, she made a career selling patent medicines and helping pregnant women who wished to give birth without losing their reputation. Lohman's business was so well known and so successful that it inspired copycats and helped create a booming abortion business in American cities. And just keep in mind, about 100 here, so 300s or so. And this is research to do independent research if you like more information. Okay, so this infuriated those who felt that abortion was so we did they we still had the people who thought that this was not right. We had a huge population who felt that um, that pregnancies threw our women's equilibrium, so it was something that you needed to get rid of. So we got both sides of those spectrum. All right, so I, medicine was becoming an actual profession um, instead of the realm of homegrown practitioners. And the rise of medical students and accreditation created a class of professional doctors. These physicians were suspicious of the midwives and self-taught doctors. Many women rely on for abortions, and as soon as the American in 1847, its members began to agitate to make abortion illegal. Okay, so it says the physicians were becoming suspicious midwives. and self-taught doctors, women relied on for and American Medical Association formed in 1847, and basically to begin to make abortions illegal because basically, um, the doctors were basically getting fed up of these people claiming to be practitioners or, um, yeah, basically practitioners and were giving a woman doing these abortions. So the doctors basically got fed up and they formed the American Medical Association. Okay. To do so, they challenged common perceptions that a fetus was not a person until the pregnant mother felt it quicken or move inside their womb. In a time before sonograms, this was often the only way to definitively prove that a pregnancy was underway. Quickening, quickening was both a medical and legal concept, and abortions were considered church churches did a practice that made a distinction between a woman who had her pregnancy pre or post puberty. So all of my ladies who have been pregnant before, I know, so I do, remember the feeling. And the ones that have had the children recently, I know you probably remember even more vividly. So the quickening, it happens around 3 or 4 months, basically when you first feel that flutter and know it's a baby in there. So I know it usually takes what between 3 to 4 months. So basically, that's how it was in the day. So it's quickening. So pre. So it's either to have an abortion if you did it before, before you felt the baby kick. In other words, because that's that quickening when you feel it flutter. And then so it was divided between four and after filling the baby pool. Uh, the association were led by Horatian, an obstetrician, author of American Gynecology. Stirrer didn't want the medical profession to be associated with abortion and considered women's desire to terminate their pregnancies to be tantamount to insanity. He felt that a woman's biological role was to be a wife and mother, and that to disrupt that path was not to commit a social crime, but murder. Okay. So say some social efforts were led by Horatio Storia, an obstetrician often called the father of American gynecology. Storia wanted the medical profession to be associated with abortion and considered term pregnancies to be tantamount to insanity. He felt that a woman's biological role was to be wife and mother, and that to disrupt that path was not just to commit a social crime, but murder, which I just read earlier. um, so this started with this was led by Schurer, uh, and he basically was designed to be a mother, which is there, be a mother, and if she went another path, that was basically murder. Um, We are the physical guardians of women, read the group's 1859 report on what is called criminal abortion. The case is here a life or death, and it depends almost wholly upon ourselves. So basically, what they're saying is we are the physical guardians of women. Women don't cannot think for themselves. We need to be uh, a life and upon that abortion is no, because basically we are the physical guardians of women. The group made a concerted effort to delegitimize, delegitimize the work of the women who previously held the majority of knowledge about childbirth and pregnancy, and to prevent women from becoming obstetricians. So not only, right, um, did they try to basically take away the work of women who, were spreading knowledge about childbirth and pregnancy. So not only that, but also um, this group uh, all are becoming obstetricians. At the same time, some members of the public grew alarmed by falling birth rates, and thanks to lobbying by the AMA, which we said earlier, American Medical Association, connected the issue with the prevalent practice of abortion. It worked. In 1873, the Comstock laws banned the publication and dissemination of information about birth control, and anti-abortion laws followed. So this is in 1873. But let's just go back up here a minute. So, and like I say, I'm just spreading education. I'm not here to out of the other. This is just for education purposes. I'm just sharing the information that I found for my people. You were able to only talk about abortion, take pills. This was ADE. They had the commercials. They had Fellow out here performing in abortion. Um, so it was all type of stuff going on. And like I said, it was the 1850s. Now, Sir James Clark, his female pills. So by it was this by 1873. So about 20, a little under 25 years, the Comstock laws banned the publication and dissemination of information about birth control, and anti-abortion laws quickly followed. So we went from 1850, it was commonplace. Everyone was having them. There was the word around town was that becoming pregnant throughout a woman's equilibrium, right? When you had your period, that you basically was flowing, nicely, but when you became pregnant and you were no longer having your period, it stopped your equilibrium, and that was from 1850s until 1873. They passed the Comstock Law. So it says by the end of the 19th century, so this is 1873 when the laws were, um, when they banned the publication about and dissemination of information about birth control and anti-abortion laws quickly followed. So we'll say the end of the 19th century would have been, we'll say about 1899 or so. So it started in 1873. We'll say about, we'll say about 20 years later for everything to get up and running. By the end of the 19th century, every state except Kentucky had an abortion law on the books. And then, of course, Kentucky, not to be left out, had also had the 10. So every state by 1910 had. Just make sure. Okay, so let me go back. Correctly. Okay, it says these laws didn't jive with the practices of many Americans. In the words of historian Leslie J. Reagan, generations of women desired and needed abortion. And neither law, nor church, nor taboo could stop them. Okay? Ending a pregnancy was often a social necessity. Though premarital sex was common, women who gave birth without marrying first were still seen as fornicators, fallen women, and even criminals. If a woman became pregnant without a man to marry her, she risked being cast out of her family and society. Since women were discouraged from working and were unable to own property, being thrown out without the support of one's family often led to disaster. Americans did not stop getting abortions, they simply went underground. By the early 20th century, patent mankind disguised abortive vaccines as remedies for female complaints to evade strict advertising laws, and doctors could no longer legally perform abortion. Only in 1973 did the U.S. Supreme Court rule in Roe versus Wade, which we are going to talk about next, that laws criminalizing abortion were unconstitutional. So that okay, so let's just look at the timeline again. So this was so basically in 1847, American Medical Association and to rally against uh, having right. So that was 1847. Give me 1 second. Let's just have much going on today. Give me a second. Okay. So I'm going to edit this all out anyway. No one is here catching it live anyway. So I'll go back on my YouTube and edit out what I need to edit. Okay. So let's go back to this. Doctors were getting suspicious of the midwives and self-taught doctors. So they formulated the American Medical Association in 1847 and started to, at that time, begin to make abortions illegal in the state. So now Horatio Area, obstetrician who uh, basically took away, led the movement to take away women's rights to become obstetricians and also, yes, so basically become obstetricians. So now we come down to 1873, and then that's when they came with the anti-abortion laws and stopped the publication and control and so on. Uh, with these. And it's not that America stopped getting abortions; they just went underground. And then in 1973, we have the Roe versus Wade. We are going Roe versus Wade. You know, that it entails, and we'll go from there. So first, I'm just gonna start with a little history about Roe v. Wade. Give me 1 second. I'm sorry, y'all. It's what's past lunch. I got my noodles in the microwave. I'm going to make me some good. I got my Cheetos. I know a lot of people probably heard of this way. I got my Cheetos. I'm gonna put my Cheetos in my noodles, and it makes it give it a little nice little. So let me go get my noodles. Before I start on the work, Roe versus Wade, the history of it. I'm gonna go get my food, and I'll be back. And give me 1 minute. All right, I'm gonna turn up the music a little so that you can hear it. Okay, so I do apologize for that. Let's get back to it, you all. Let's get back to it. All right, let me share my screen so we can go on that bit of information. I told you we were going to be here for a while. I already told you all that. So we're going to be. I have a lot of information, and it just doesn't help with, I having to go take care of other things in between. So I do apologize for that, and I will be more mindful in the future of having as minimal, you know, things to do during my life as possible. So, okay, so let me share my screen. All right, so let's go to here. Like I said, the next thing we are going to cover is exactly what is Roe versus Wade. So I did want to give you the information about, just give you some history before we even made it up to Roe versus Wade. So just keep in mind, in the 50s, it was wild and free. You could have one if you wanted. No one had anything. So toward, they created the American Medical Association. Um, and they created the and I'm not giving exact dates because I'm not looking at the article, but you can go do your own research. And I just said it a few minutes ago. But the American Medical Association was created because the doctors were basically getting tired of these so-called doctors or women portraying themselves as doctors who were offering abortions, and they created the American Medical Association. And at that time, they began to on a path to make abortions illegal. And one of the major reasons were that they did not want abortions to be tied to like the medical field, right? So they began to work, uh, basically. Were set on a path to make abortions illegal. So by the end of the 1800s, all states except for one state, Kentucky, all states had in all states abortion was illegal, and that was a stark contrast to at the beginning of the 1800s. It was wild and free, right? So and then Kentucky did follow in 1910. So okay, so just think about the dates. So 1910, there was, even though all the other states, except for Kentucky, all the other states, in all the other states, abortion was illegal. 1910, Kentucky joined them. So just think about it. So from 1910 until this decision made in 1973, abortion was illegal. Now, I'm pretty sure they had many underground places to go, get and to get rid of a pregnancy. So we'll just say it was illegal, but you know, pretty to get this procedure done. They just were not. It wasn't done legally. Okay, so now remember 1910, the last state that officially uh, came on board, Kentucky, to ban uh, abortion. Now every state, in every state, abortion has been banned. So comes 19. This is when all things change. So we're talking about 60, um, almost 65 years later. Excuse me. So this is history.com, pretty reputable site, and I just what I find. So and just to give you some basically some things to go research and do your own education, because I don't want you to just rely solely on what I'm telling you, right? I want you to do your own research and for you know, you might find something else that I did not find. But so this is for educational purposes, but educational purposes to get your mind stirring and if to find your own information and your own research, right? So that's basically what all of my lives are going to be for. So okay. So this is Roe versus Wade. It says history.com editors. updated June the 24th, 2022. So this was recently updated. I'm pretty sure to include the decision turned Roe versus Wade. But it was originally written March the 27th, 2018. So let's just get into this, which is the topic of the hour. Now, before I get into this, I just want to say I intentionally waited to speak on this matter. I do recall, when the decision first, it was unbelief, but not because I feel with other about it. It wasn't because of that. It was just you know it was just I didn't even know they was voting on it. It just came out of the blue, in my opinion. But I'm pretty sure, they have been tossing the subject around. I just was not on it. So I'm pretty sure it has been tossed around back and forth. And we'll talk more about that in a few minutes too, when we talk about the Supreme Justices. So it says Roe versus Wade was a landmark legal decision issued on January the 22nd, 1973, in which the U.S. Supreme Court. Oh, let me make sure my mic is on. Okay, I'm here. All right, I just want to make sure my mic is on. All right, so this happened in 1973, in which the U.S. Supreme Court struck down a Texas statute banning. So, as you remember, because we just did the history, right? That's why I like to do the history first. So, when we start talking about the actual topic, you already have the backstory to what's going on. So if you recall, the last official state to ban abortion was Kentucky, which was 1910. So now we're up to 1973. So of course Texas had abortion ban. Had abortion banned because, as we just stated, all the states. Uh, in all the states, abortions were banned. So, of course, Texas was not an uh, exception. So, this happened in January 22nd, 1973. So, effectively legalizing the procedure across the United States. The court held that a woman's right to an abortion was implicit and a right to privacy protected by the 14th Amendment to the Constitution. Okay, so before and this right here, what struck me, because this is what got me. So it's saying that the woman's right to abortion was protected by the 14th Amendment. Okay, so let's just take a look a little bit at this 14th, and this is what gets me. Look at what's included in the 14th Amendment. So let me just break this down to you all. So, right to abortion was uh about the amendment. That's what the Roe versus Wade court case was about. Roe won. So it was stated that because of the 14th Amendment that guaranteed a woman's privacy. But when I look up the 14th Amendment, this is what I want you all to be aware of. So this is what the 14th Amendment says, and it's pretty long. I want you to. This is your homework assignment, because I always give homework assignments. So I want you to go read exactly what the 14th Amendment states, and just keep in mind this was the amendment they used in order to say that abortions are legal. But just so happens this 14th Amendment is this is the amendment that granted citizenship to all persons born or naturalized in the United States, including former enslaved people, and guaranteed all citizens equal protection of the law. So one of the three amendments passed on the Reconstruction era to abolish slavery and establish civil and legal rights for Black Americans. It would become the basis for many landmark Supreme Court decisions over the years. I just want you all to just think about that for a second. So, do you all think it's a coincidence that the 14th Amendment is been challenged. Okay, don't get me. Just listen to me clearly, because I know you're gonna say, "Well, they're just challenging about abortion. It's not about anything else." But the thing about it, you all, they successfully went against this amendment, and they successfully overturned this 14th Amendment. But not the, hold on, let me make this clear. Not the whole 14th Amendment, just I think it's the section 5. So it's a lot that goes into the 14th Amendment, but what you have to realize is the whole 14th. So it's the 14th Amendment, and then it's like different sections. But the 14th Amendment itself is that's what grants enslaved people their rights. And this is the same amendment that was used to strike, to overturn abortion laws. So now to me that's what's scary to me. So it's not even a whole abortion thing. It's just the the fact that they actually overturned a 14th something on the 14th Amendment, which is the same amendment that guaranteed us where former enslaved people guaranteed them as citizens. So that's what scares me, and that's what I'm concerned about. That's the main part that I'm concerned about. So we'll go more into that. So that's the 14th Amendment, and like I said, your homework is to look up the 14th Amendment. If you don't know anything about it, I suggest you this whole thing. Go through this whole thing and see, exactly what it's talking about. Just read this whole thing. It has different sections. Um, Let me see. Can I find a section that's for that they use for uh, for the Roe versus Wade? Let's see. It was. Uh, okay, so you see right here another ruling. The 14th Amendment and contraception. So as you see the Roe versus Wade right here. So it's all in there together. This is the same 14th Amendment that guaranteed enslaved people their rights. So is it a coincidence that now they are that, that now they focusing on um, you know the abortion, overturning abortion laws that the 14th Amendment guaranteed for the 14th Amendment guaranteed this, right? So now they overturned it. But this same 14th Amendment, that's the same thing that guaranteed enslaved citizens their rights. I hope y'all are catching this. And please do your research. Don't listen to me. Do your own research. I'm just trying to get your mind on so that you can on up. So just take a look at to that 14th Amendment. Let's go back to uh, let's go back to this. So it says, let's see. So basically, a woman's right to abortion was implicit and a right to privacy protected by the 14th Amendment to the Constitution. Prior to Roe versus Wade, abortion had been illegal throughout much of the country since the late 19th century, which we just discussed earlier. Since the 1973 ruling, many states imposed restrictions on on abortion rights. The Supreme Court overturned Roe versus Wade on June 24, 2022, holding that there was no longer a federal constitutional right to abortion. What you have to hear, basically, what it's saying is that it's not so much that the federal government, right, took away your right to abortion. It's more so that that the government, federal government, is saying that it's not their issue. It's up to your state now to decide if you want to. It's up to your state to determine if they feel that abortion is legal or not. So your right is no longer, you're no longer guaranteed that right under the federal government. It's now been turned over to your state. And speaking of states, all right, let me just show you something right quick. Let me pull this up. Hold on, let me share my screen. I told you I was doing some research now. All right, um let me see what I got. Let's see. I can't see your let me see. Risky options. More babies are being saved now. True. Everyone is very happy now. Roe versus Wade was overturned. Risky opinions. Thank you your opinion. And if you, I don't know when you came in on my live, but I'm happy you're here. I'm not here to say, who's right, who's wrong. I'm just here to share the information that I research, and just here to share, what I found while researching the topic. So I'm not here to say who's right, who's wrong, but I can say that it is a very personal decision. Um, myself. Um, okay, so I'll just say it's a personal. It's a very, personal decision. It's okay. So let's say it like this. The topic. Okay, so so y'all gonna make me get. Y'all gonna make me get into it, deep into it. Okay, so the concept, right, of okay, let's not allow these women to have abortions. Let's save all the babies. We love all the babies. All the babies. Let's not women to have abortions, even if they feel they need one for whatever reason. Let's not allow that. Let's save all the babies. Okay, the concept it sounds okay, but my concern, right? My concern is that we're kind of on a slippery slope here, right? Because, like I just mentioned a few minutes ago, the Roe versus Wade um, was backed up by the 14th Amendment, right? So if you do your research, you will realize that the 14th Amendment is the same one that guaranteed enslaved people their rights, right? So when you start to look at it that way, it becomes a little slippery because my question is, okay, just for example, if you are, and like I said, I'm not here to come and put my opinion on anyone. I'm just sharing the information that was shared and basically trying to spark a dialogue here. So I'm not here to say one way or the other. I'm just here to share the information. But what I do want to say is, okay, so we're allowing all the babies to come into this world, right? Cool. Babies, they talk about babies in the Bible. Babies are wonderful. I have 6 grandchildren that I love so very deeply. Um, right? So the babies, I love them. My thing is, okay, so we have to realize that everyone is not on the same socio-economical status, right? So basically, everyone lives in different communities. Everyone lives, I mean, mates are on different income levels. Everyone are on different um, um, I'll say mental health status, but that's not really the word I'm looking for. I would say more, um, what's the word I'm looking for? Developmental levels, right? So, okay, so once this child comes into this earth, what then? So my thing is, if if you all, so because basically like back in the day, the men took it into their own hands and say basically women need to be saved and they shouldn't be allowed to have abortions, and we should take this into our own hands. If you were here when I was, sharing the previous content, you would have heard that. So uh, so basically, when a woman has a baby, right? Now, now I'm not talking about the women who are financially able, who have a good mental health outlook, or who are not developmentally delayed in any way whatsoever, right? I'm not talking about those. Those are the perfect people, right? But I'm talking about the other people who because just think about it. Just because you're developmentally delayed, or you might have mental health issues, or you might be poor, or any of these things that cause you to have a lower social economical status, you are still able to have a period. You're still able to have sex, right? So these are the people that I'm talking about. So now, and I'm not, like I said, I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm not here to judge anyone. I'm not here to say right or wrong. And I'm not saying if I say it's right or wrong, because that's not what my life for. I'm just here to have this dialogue. If the babies are coming, what next? So if you overturn the law, are you going? If you overturn that amendment, are you going to offer something to educate the women, to educate these young girls, to just provide the information they need, so that so that they don't feel the need to have abortion? Are you going to be there? You know, because the only let me tell you what's going to happen. Just like anything else, it's going to just go underground, right? And I'm pretty sure the people who did this, they know that already. They know that. Just like back in the day, cocaine was legal. Remember? Well, I don't know if you know that or not, but it was maybe in the 1800s. It was literally used in Coca-Cola that people was drinking. Cocaine was legal. But now, of course, now it's illegal. But people, I'm pretty sure, still use it. They just buy it in illegal ways. It's gonna be the same thing with abortion, which is gonna put people's life in danger. But that's my thing. Are you gonna use it since you overturned it? Are you gonna use Are you gonna use resources to help educate these um, young lady? And I'm not talking about the perfect women or the perfect young ladies. I'm not talking about that thing. I'm talking about the developmentally delayed ones, or the ones dealing with mental health issues, or maybe those type, or we can even throw the ones that's been raped in there. We can throw that in there too. I'm talking about those type. Are you going to be able to educate these people, or are you just gonna leave them out to dry? I mean, and also educate them on the implications of, illegal abortions. Or we just gonna overturn this law and overturn this amendment, and that be that. Well, not the amendment, but the law that governed that abortion was legal. So that's the thing. What are we gonna do? Okay, so it's overturned. What are we gonna do now? Is that it? Is that it? Okay, so, but I guess Risky Opinions is gone. He did maybe didn't want to have a dialogue. So let's go back to where we were at. I know that's why I wanted to wait to this was give it some time, because I knew this had the potential to be a very hot button. So I wanted to give it a little time. Okay, so the comments. I was basically about to share something about the states. Speaking of the states, let's just take a look at this. Okay, so let's see. Let me see, are y'all able? Am I sharing this or not? Okay, so hopefully you can see this. Okay, so I just wanted to just share something. So up top, what we're looking at basically the red states, of course, are the states that were basically Republican led. Of those who voted for Trump, but basically, it usually would be Georgia, but Georgia, uh, this last election, they actually turned blue, but they're usually red, but they turned blue. So okay, so we see all the blue is where Democrats voted. Well, that Biden won, and the red is where Trump won. Like I said, I'm not making this political. I'm just trying to state a point right here, and we can go from there. Give me 1 second. Okay, so I hope you all can see this. Let me just look on here. Okay, so like I said, the first map is just the Republican states, basically, because the red is going to be Republican, where individuals voted Republican, and the blue is going to be where individuals voted um, Democrat. So I know this might not be a surprise to a lot of you all, right? But I just wanted to, you know, show. Don't these maps look pretty familiar? Okay, so let me just share with you. So the blue is expected to remain legal. So up north, California, ban. That's Texas. These states up here in the middle, and then you have full ban to start within a month. And these are these states, and of course Georgia and these states are expected to ban. And of course, Florida is unknown, but I'm pretty sure Florida is a Republican state, so I'm pretty sure they're going to ban it as well. It would be surprised if they didn't. So just look at these two. Don't they look? They're almost exactly the same map. Just take a look. Almost the same. And I'm just going to give you a minute so you can read the bottom. Can you see it? It's coming up now. Okay, so I just want to give you a minute so you can read the wording on the bottom. So the dark red means ban. The lighter red is full ban. Let's start within a month. Purple expected to ban. Gray is unknown, which Florida is there. So I'm pretty sure Florida is a Republican state. So I'm pretty sure but I don't know for that. So allegedly. And then blue is expected to remain legal. So if we look at this and then go look at this is from the election, the previous election. Don't they look? almost similar. So up here, that's what's going to remain legal. Same. Colorado and New Mexico are going to remain legal. Same right here, Minnesota, Illinois, um, up here, up north, all of it is going to remain legal. So I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm just saying, I'm just, providing the information. But what gets me is Alaska. It looks like it was a Republican state right here, but as you can see, they are planning to remain legal. So that is one that sticks out. But this is basically the same map. So basically, all the Republican states wanting to remain legal. Okay. So now that we got that out of the way, let's go back. Um, let's go back. Okay. Let's see. Oh, let me share my screen because I love to share my screen so you can follow along with me. Make sure you can see it. Okay. So let's go back to. So we went over the 14th Amendment, and like I said, your homework is to go know exactly what the 14th Amendment says because it does talk about abortion. It is the same amendment that guarantees enslaved enslaved individuals their rights. There, I just want you to go look that over. All right. Okay. So let's see. So we just talked about the 14th Amendment. Okay. Let's see. Prior to Roe versus Wade, abortion had been illegal throughout much of the country since the late 19th century. Since the 1973 ruling, many states imposed restrictions on abortion rights. And of course, we just said it was overturned June the 24th, so it has been 4 days now. So, abortion before Roe versus Wade, which we pretty much went over that in our last piece of information, but we'll just read and see what they say here. So it says, until the late 19th century, abortion was legal in the United States before quickening. The point at which a woman could first feel movements of the fetus, typically around the 4th month of pregnancy. And if you have been here with me for a while, you will recall me saying around the 3rd or 4th month, that's when you start feeling the baby move. Some of the early regulations related to abortion were enacted in the 1820s and 1830s and dealt with the sale of dangerous drugs that women used to induce abortions. Despite these regulations and the fact that the drugs sometimes prove fatal to women, they continued to be advertised and sold. Okay. In the late 1850s, the newly established American Medical Association began calling for the criminalization of abortion, partly in an effort to eliminate doctors' competitors, such as midwives and homeopaths. So, before we go any further, I know everyone, wants to look at this as saving the babies, and it's a religious thing. Oh, we love the babies. We have to save the babies, even though once the babies get born, the people who said they were done for the babies, that they disappear. But anyway, that's a whole nother subject. Um, so this decision that was made in 1850s that sought to ban abortions, it had nothing to do with uh, church. It had nothing to do with they were saying that it was morally wrong. It had to do with the newly established American Medical Association, right? And they would eliminate doctors competitors such as midwives and homeopaths. So basically, it had to do with money, which is about I'll say about 98% of things in this world. Well, I'll say about 60% has to do with money, and I'll say the other 40% has to do with politics. And like I said, I am a personality here. I'm the host of this show, so this is my opinion, right? And it's for educational purposes. Everything I say is allegedly. So don't, I don't want you to get too hot. This is for entertainment and educational purposes, but it's right here. All right. So, additionally, some nativists, along by the country's growing population of immigrants, were anti-abortion because they feared declining birth rates among white American-born Protestant women. Okay? In 1869, the Catholic Church banned abortion at any stage of pregnancy, while in 1873, Congress passed the Comstock Law, which made it illegal to distribute contraceptives and abortion-inducing drugs throughout the U.S. mail. By the 1880s, abortion was outlawed across most of the country. And keep in mind this: don't do not let this pass you by. They fear declining birth rates among white American-born Protestant women. All right. Let's see. 1880s, abortion was outlawed in most of the country. During the 1960s, during the women's rights movement, court cases involving contraceptives laid the groundwork for Roe versus Wade. Sorry, y'all need more noodles. These noodles, I told you all how I was making them. I don't know if you were here then or what, but I got just some instant lunch noodles in the cup. Everybody know what they are. But anyway, I pop them in the microwave for about 3 minutes, and then when they come out, I put the Cheetos in there, a bag of Cheetos, right? And it soaks up all the water and makes nice, fulfilling snack. All right. It says in 1965, the U.S. Supreme Court struck down a law banning the distribution of birth control to married couples, ruling that the law violated their implied right to privacy under the U.S. Constitution. And in 1972, the Supreme Court struck down a law prohibiting the distribution of contraceptives to unmarried adults. So before, and that's another thing you're gonna have to keep in mind too, because usually when something like this is passed, it's not just what you see, right? For example, go. I challenge you to go look at I think it's the American Cares Act. So you probably thinking it just has to do with I think we got stimulus checks through that, right? If I'm not mistaken. I don't have it in front of me. But I challenge you to go read up on everything else that's included in that. You only know what's being presented to you or what they're advertising right on TV or whatever other source that where you're catching it at, but you would be surprised of all the things that's going to be included in that act. So that's the thing, and that's what I'm trying to get across. It's not so much. I'm not giving my opinion on whether this is right or wrong. That I'm not here to give an opinion on it. What I am here to do is first of all present the information, present the research. First of all, second of all, to just bring attention that this could possibly this is like a slippery slope because like I said, for one, this is the same amendment. This amendment that guaranteed the women the right to abortion. it was guaranteed under the right to privacy under the 14th Amendment. And this 14th Amendment is the same amendment that guaranteed um, citizenship to enslaved individuals at the time. So that that's what I'm more concerned about. And like I just stated, even though this is like the main headlines of abortion is now the Roe versus Wade is overturned, right? So that means they struck all of that down. But what you have to realize, even though that's basically what we know about Roe versus Wade, more than likely it's more things that come with that. For it's more that entails just um, overturning abortion. And I can't really speak on exactly what else is with it because I can do the research on that. But like I said, just take if you want to understand, take a look at the American Cares Act. Even though you probably think it's just includes stimulus checks, I think, I think that was the American Cares Act. Um, go take a look at what's all included that you never even does. They're not going to tell you that. You have to do your own research. They're not going to. This the world tell you everything. You need to let you know that now. They're not going to tell you everything you need to know. So, you have to do the research and find out for yourself. It's here. It's definitely here, right? But you're just going to have to do the research to find out. Or catch Lily Doobie, your favorite therapist. Okay, so it says, let me see, by 1880, abortion was outlawed across most of the country. So, basically, so before the 60s, a married couple could not use contraception. Right? In 1972, that's when a law prohibiting so up to 1965, married couples they could not use contraception to prevent pregnancy. And then in 1972, they also struck down the law because before then, even unmarried adults could not use contraceptives. So 1960, able to use contraceptives. Uh, they allow distribution of contraceptives unmarried adults. So it says, meanwhile, in 1970, Hawaii became the first state to legalize abortion. So that's interesting because the law did not come down until 1973, but 1970 Hawaii became the first state to legalize abortion, although the law only applied to the state's residents. That same year, New York followed suit, and you didn't have to live there. You could just, you know, well. And by the time of Roe versus Wade in 1973, abortion was also legally available in Alaska and Washington. So by 1973, you had like roughly four states. And if you're just catching my live, or if you've been here from the beginning, I want you to stay around because I got some great information coming. I'm going to talk about Roe. So who is Roe? It's Roe versus Wade. Who is Roe? And I got some great information that I'm going to share about her in a few minutes. As soon as I get it. As a matter of fact, I'm going to cover that next. Oh, so speaking of her, I guess we'll go into it now. So it says Jane Roe. In 1969, Norma McCorvey, a Texas woman in her early 20s, sought to terminate an unwanted pregnancy. McCorvey, who had grown up in difficult, impoverished circumstances, previously had given birth twice and given up both children for adoption. Am I sharing this? Let me see. Okay, good. Okay, so this was going on in Texas. Let's see. At the time of McCurry's pregnancy in 1969, abortion was legal in Texas, but only for the purpose of saving a woman's life. While American women with the financial means could obtain abortions by traveling to other countries where the procedure was safe, a large fee to a U.S. willing to secretly perform an abortion, those options were worried, Corby, and other women. As a result, some women resorted to illegal, dangerous back alley abortions or self-induced abortions. Okay, so it says, as a result, some women, they just said they resorted to illegal, dangerous back alley abortions or self-induced abortions. Sorry, y'all, I'm waiting on my I'm waiting on my luggage to come. I ordered some new luggage, so it's all for delivery. I'm just trying to make sure I don't. All right, so as a result, some women, we already read that. In the 1950s and 60s, the estimated number of illegal abortions in the United States ranged from 200,000 to 1.2 million per year, according to the Gut Measure Institute. And if you want to look that up, you're more than welcome. After trying unsuccessfully to get an illegal abortion, McQuarrie was referred to Texas attorneys Linda Coffey and Sarah Weddington, who were interested in challenging anti-abortion laws. So, actually, Norma Monroe, but she became known as Jane Roe in the court system. So just keep that in mind, just in case you didn't know. And so, who's Henry Wade? Because Roe versus Wade, right? So it says in 1970. The attorneys filed the lawsuit on behalf of McCurdy and all the other women who were or might become pregnant and want to consider all options against Henry Wade, the district attorney of Dallas County, where McCurdy lived. So it's Roe, which is actually, we just discovered, is McCorvey, and then it was Wade, who was the district attorney of Dallas County. So filed lawsuit against the Wade district attorney to be able to consider all options when becoming pregnant. So it says, give me one second. Well, like I told you, I'm doing this live, but um, I also might have something come up in between that I have to handle right away. So I do apologize for that. And we're almost done. I don't see us being here after 4. All right. All right. Go back to share my screen. I see Risky Opinion came and gave his risky opinion and left. I'm not of opinion. I'm not here to judge anyone, sir, or ma'am, or lady. No. Let's talk about it. That's what it's called. Let's talk about it. All right. Let me go back to where was that? I do appreciate you coming through. I really do appreciate that. Because that's the thing. The reason for my I guess you'll call it my stream or my podcast, my content is so we can talk about. Let's talk about. I did my research. I found what I found. Okay, you do your research and let's come together and have a educated conversation. Or if it could be that way. Or if you feel like you want more information on the subject, I will give you a way to have some information so that you can begin your own research. I'm not here to change anybody's mind on anything, or I'm not here for that. I'm just here. Like I said, let's talk about it. So we're talking about it. We're bringing it out into the open, and not only are we talking about this topic, as you can see, I have covered other additional uh, um, additional subtopics that also, you know, that have came up. So, all right. So let's go back to where we were at. Where were we? I think we're done with. Okay. All right. We are now. We're on. Wait. Let me just make sure. Sharing. Okay. So we're gonna. It says. So Henry Wade was the district attorney of Dallas County, where. Oh, yeah. So earlier, because he prosecuted Jack Ruby. So, if you don't know who Jack Ruby is, he is the person who killed Lee Harvey Oswald, which is the alleged assassin of President John F. Kennedy. So, Lee Harvey Oswald killed President John F. Kennedy, and Jack Ruby killed Lee Harvey Oswald. And Wade, which is the Wade and Roe versus Wade, was made famous by prosecuting Jack. So you just read it right here. So it says in June 1970, a Texas district court ruled that the state's abortion ban was illegal because it violated a constitutional right to privacy. Afterward, Wade declared he'll continue to prosecute doctors who perform abortion. Okay. All right. The case eventually was appealed to the U.S. Supreme Court. Meanwhile, McCorvey gave birth and put the child up for adoption. So it doesn't sound like she was able to get an abortion for the kid right here. Okay, let's see. Let's see. Okay, yeah, because they fought this in 1970. So she was pregnant at the time this was filed. And then they didn't do the decision until 1973. So she she had already had the baby and stated she had put the baby up for adoption. So even though it may seem like this was dedicated to her because she was getting an abortion, but she did not get the abortion because this ruling was not passed in time. You know, this ruling was not passed in time for her to receive the abortion. She had already had it, but she did put the child up for adoption. So this was 1970 when they first June was first, you know, taken when it, it took it to the court system. And on January 22nd, 1973, the Supreme Court, in a 7-2 decision, struck down the Texas law banning abortion, effectively legalizing the procedure nationwide. In a majority opinion written by Justice Harris, the court declared that a woman's right to an abortion was implicit and right to privacy protected by the 14th Amendment. As you can see, they struck it down. So just take heed that, you know, they struck this down. The Supreme Court can do that. And I talked about what's all included in the 14th Amendment earlier. So if you missed that, please go back and watch it. They struck it down. That's why I say it's a slippery slope. Let's continue on. The court divided pregnancy into 3 trimesters. This happened in 73. And declared that the choice to end a pregnancy in the first trimester was solely up to the woman. In the second trimester, the government could regulate abortion, although not ban it, in order to protect the mother's health. In the third trimester, the state could prohibit abortion to protect the fetus that could survive on its own outside the womb, except when a woman's health was in danger. Okay, so this is what got me. This is what got me, and I'm gonna share a little more on Wikipedia about her. And then y'all can say what y'all want to say about Wikipedia. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't use it to write any research papers, and I never used it to write all the. I don't even know how many research papers I had to write in graduate school and undergraduate school, and had to write so many research papers, and I never used Wikipedia. But after doing my research and looking at Wikipedia, I do realize, you know, you have to have a discerning eye, of course. But all in all, I think the information is a start to getting you the valid information you need. So you still have to, you know, go a step further, but at least it gets you on a path of finding the information you need. Okay, so I want y'all to pay close attention to this as we start to talk about the legacy of Roe versus Wade. Norma McCorvey, which we already said is Roe, maintained a low profile following a court decision. But in the 1980s, she was active in the abortion rights movement. However, so this law was passed in the 1973, right? In the 80s, she was active in the abortion rights movement. However, in the mid 1990s, after becoming friends with the head of an anti-abortion group and converting to Catholicism, she turned into a vocal opponent of the procedure. Since Roe versus Wade, many states imposed restrictions that weakened abortion rights, and Americans remain divided over support for a woman's right to choose an abortion. I guess at this time, I could say, me personally, I could see how, you know, I could see how she could change from, you know, feeling that, okay, this is what I need to do, and now becoming like, basically it sounds like she switched sides. But you have to realize what people, and if you never experienced this before, just call yourself blessed. But you have to realize, you know, having an abortion is not like, it's not like a, well, I guess I can't speak for all women, but I would imagine that it's not like a walk in the park, or it's not a decision that's taken lightly, or, you know, in most cases. So, you know, that's already uh, taking a lot out of a woman, right? And then on top of that, you have to keep in mind this woman has to live with this for the rest of her life, you know, that she ended a pregnancy. So I could see how, you know, being younger, it doesn't really have to do too much with being younger, but basically having a mindset to say, okay, this is, I considered all my options, and you know, I'm not gonna say it's the best option, but this is where I'm at right now, right? This is where I'm at. And then opposed to, okay, you know, no, I don't think that someone should do that anymore. So I'm going to rally against anti-abortion. I could see that happening. So it's not like so much that she um that she was what's the word I'm looking for, hypocritical or anything like that. It sounds like she just received more information and changed her mind on the subject. Okay. Whew. Woo. In 1992, litigation against Pennsylvania Abortion Control Act reached the Supreme Court in a case called Planned Parenthood of Southeastern Pennsylvania versus Casey. The court upheld the central ruling in Roe versus Wade. They allowed states to pass more abortion restrictions as long as they did not pose an undue burden. And now we come to 2022. 2022, the nation's highest court deliberated on Dogs versus Jackson Women's Health Organization. And I didn't even go into that yet. I might have to bring that in a follow up because I didn't even go into what Dogs versus Jackson even said. But it has a little detail right here. It basically says it regarded the constitutionality of a Mississippi law banning most abortions after 15 weeks of pregnancy. Courts had ruled the law was unconstitutional under Roe versus Wade. Under Roe, states had been prohibited from banning abortions before around 23 weeks, when a fetus is considered able to survive outside a woman's womb. In its decision, the Supreme Court ruled 63 in favor of Mississippi law, overturned Roe after its nearly 50 years as the president. They ruled 6-3, and if you go up here, it was almost the same number with those same, but right here was 7-2. They struck down law. Okay, so there's that. There's more information on Roe versus Wade. And like I said, I always encourage you to do your own research. All right, so now we're just going to learn more about who Roe was. Don't you all want to know more about Roe? Okay. Uh, let me share my thing right here. Okay. All right. So let me share my screen. Um, And like I was saying earlier, this is from Wikipedia. Not the most trustworthy site, but like I said, it does get you to talking and it gets you to, it puts you on a start to obtaining more research. No, I would not use this. I never used this on any research papers when I was obtaining my grad degree or my undergrad degree, but it gets you to talking. So, and like I already said, I encourage you to do your own research. Oh, let me make this bigger. All right. So, and we're gonna get out of here in 3 minutes. I have a client at 5 anyway, so I have to get ready to wrap this up. Let's see. Oh, it's still small. Let me make it even bigger. Okay. So that's about as good as this song. Let's quickly go through this information. We just talked about Jane Roman. So the real name is Norma McCorvey. Norma Lee Nelson McCorvey. Now we're gonna take it easy on Miss McCorvey because she did pass away in 2017. So she's no longer with us. God bless her soul. So we're not gonna talk. I mean, I wouldn't talk about it anyway. I don't because I'm not here for that. But I want to. It's the main reason why I'm sharing this. It was a shock to me. So I hope you all like this type of stuff too. And it's like, wow. All right. So it says Norma Leah Nelson McCorvey, who is also known as here she is right here on the right. Oh, nice. She's a white woman. She was born in Louisiana. She died at 69 in Katy, Texas. Uh, she had a spouse, Elwood McCorvey, uh, and then she had a partner. So I'm thinking, y'all, I'm sorry for this, but I just gotta say it. She had a partner, Cunning Gonzalez, 1970 and 1993. So just keep in mind, 1970 is when she was trying to obtain a legal abortion. So I would, and I love this type of stuff because I love like aha moments. So 1970, it would like, was she with her partner? Well, she was with her for a long time, too, like 23 years. So was she with her partner when she became pregnant, or was this like before? So did she want abortion because she was with her partner and she was with a guy, or was this before she met Miss Connie? That's what research gives you, because you go down a rabbit hole in a sense. All right, so um, so in 1973, the individual state ban. Oh, let me see. So 1973, individual state laws banning abortion were unconstitutional. We already read about that. Later in her life, McCurry became an evangel, evangel, evangel. What I consider her Protestant, and in her remaining years a Roman Catholic, and took part in the anti-abortion movement. So y'all, ain't that so weird? The main lady, right? This is how the world goes. Y'all have to be careful. The main lady who went to court and said, "Oh, I can't find nobody with nowhere to give me a legal abortion. I need an abortion because it was, remember, at this time when she was trying to get it was 1970. She had already put two kids up for adoption. She met her sweet little partner Connie Gonzalez in 1970, and we have not figured out yet it was when she was pregnant in 1970. Was it because she cheated on Connie and she wanted an abortion, or was this before she met Connie? Because her and Connie met in 1970, and it was together for like 20 something years. But back to my point. So the same woman, right, that went in front of the courts and said no, I, and everybody knows that. I mean, the reason of abortion was anti-abortion laws were overturned was because Roe, which is McCorvey, Roe versus hence Roe versus Wade. But um, as time went on, she took part in the anti-abortion movement. So that is kind of that's a lot. But hold on, I'm not done. Watch this. McCurry stated that then that her involvement in Roe was the biggest mistake of her life. However, in a Nick Sweeney documentary, aka Jane Roe, McCurry said in what she called her deathbed confession. And let's just see what a deathbed confession is. A deathbed confession is a minute or confession when someone is nearing death or on their deathbed. This confession may help alleviate any guilt, regrets, secrets, or sins that that person may have had in their life. This confession, oh, it goes on and on. I'm not trying to read the whole thing. It says that a person may have had in their life. So basically, I mean, everybody pretty much knows what a deathbed confession is. So, it's basically saying that, hey, I'm about to be out of here, and I just want to let you know before I'm out of here. I just want to let you know, this is how I felt. It wasn't real. So it says in her deathbed confession that she never really supported the anti-abortion movement and that she had been paid for her anti-abortion sentiment. Oh, okay. So, and I read this wrong yesterday. Okay, okay. So basically, what she is saying is that she turned into, she became a evangelical Protestant, and also a Roman Catholic and took part in the anti-abortion movement. However, on her deathbed, says she never really supported the anti-abortion movement and that she was paid. So they literally paid her for her anti-abortion certificate. Now, before we go any farther, I know I am aware that we are on Wikipedia right now, right? So, like I stated, now you don't have to go with this information simply because it is on Wikipedia, but you do have information, right? That you can go do some research yourself on other maybe that you would deem sources. So you do have the information that you need to begin to respect. I'm just presenting to you. So it says that she was paid. I'm not gonna really go into the information about her. You can look it up. This is all about McCurry, aka Roe, had a hard life. She says she lived with her mother's cousin who allegedly raped her every night for 3 weeks. Uh, when McCurry's mother found out, her cousin said McCurry was lying. Um, she married Woody. She later left him after he assaulted her. She moved in with her mom, gave birth to her first child, and then afterwards she developed a severe drinking and drug problem. Then soon after that, she began to identify as a lesbian. Let's see. Said she went on a weekend trip and left her baby with her mom, and went after she with a baby doll and reported Norma to the police. Um, as having abandoned her baby and called the police to take her out of the house. And she did not. The mom did not tell uh, McCory, aka Roe, where her baby was for weeks, and finally let her visit her child after 3 months. And she allowed her to move back in. It says after a long day of work, her mother presented her some papers, which McCory, aka Roe, the mom presented her some adoption. She thought they were insurance papers, and she didn't read them because her mom was giving them to her. And of course, we want to believe our mom. So she gave uh, McCorby, aka Roe. This is, of course, when she was a lot younger. Mother presented her with insurance papers. Oh, so she thought, but they were actually adoption papers. And they gave her mom custody of Melissa, and then the mom kicked her out of the house. But her mom disputed it and said that she did agree. So, and then Curry also, she became pregnant again the next year and gave birth to Jennifer, who was placed up for adoption. And then 1969, at 21, she became pregnant again, and then at this time she moved to Dallas. I don't know how true this is, y'all. Like I said, this is Wikipedia, and it's just a dialogue for more conversation. If you want, more information, please go do your own research. But it says, according to McCory, friends advised her that she should assert falsely that she had been raped by a group of black men, that she could thereby obtain a legal abortion under Texas law, which prohibited most abortion. Sources differ on whether Texas law has such a rape exception. But due to a lack of police evidence or documentation, the scheme was not successful. And she later said it was a fabrication. She did attempt to get illegal abortion, but the clinic she was going to had been closed down by authorities. So eventually she was referred to the attorneys Linda Coffey, Sarah Weatherton, and they were actually looking for pregnant women who were seeking abortions. So it said it took 3 years to reach the Supreme Court of the United States. Um, And McCorry, which is Rose, she never attended a single trial. So even though this was monumental, like this was a huge thing. She never went to one trial. And during the course of the lawsuit, she became pregnant again, put the baby up for adoption. So I think at this point, it's three babies she put up for adoption. McCorry told the press that she was shamed soon after the decision was reached an abortion because she was unemployable and greatly depressed. In 1983, she told the press that she had been raped. In 1987, she said the rape claim was untrue. Let's see, I'm just reading. Okay, so this this is her relationship with a girlfriend. Um, soon after giving birth the third time, the Curry met and began a long-term relationship with Connie Gonzalez. They lived together in Dallas for 35 years. After converting to Catholicism, McCurry continued to live with Gonzalez, though she described the relationship as platonic. Later in life, McCurry stated she was no longer a lesbian, although she later said that her religious conversion and renounce of her sexuality were financially motivated. So basically, she was just willing to sell her soul to the highest bidder. In other words, that's basically what it sounded like. All right, McCurry moved out of the house she shared with Gonzalez in 2006, shortly after Gonzalez suffered a stroke. Uh, and she died of heart failure in 2017 at the age of 69. Today is on May 22nd, 2020. A documentary, aka John Rowe, aired on Netflix. So you should be able to find this on Netflix. Describing McCurry's life and the financial incentives to change her views on abortion. And an interview conducted for the film shortly before her death, in which she referred to her deathbed confession, McCorry said her anti-abortion activism had been all in act, which she did because she was paid, saying that she did not care whether a woman got an abortion. I was the big fish. I think it was a mutual thing. I took their money and they'll put me out in front of the cameras and tell me what to say. That's what I say, the courage say. If a young woman wants to have an abortion, that's no skin off my, you know what? That's why they call it choice, she added. Okay. Says Robert. He's a formerly anti-abortion evangelical pastor who worked with McCorvey, verified the claim made in the documentary of McCorvey receiving financial compensation. He acknowledged that his group paid McCorvey to speak, which is wrong. Don't lose me. Stay with me. To speak against, saying her name and photo would command some of the largest windfalls of for my group, and many others. But the money we gave her was modest. More than once, I tried to make up for it with an added check, but it was never fair. According to tax documents, but Corby received at least $450,000 from anti-abortion groups during her years as an activist. Sneak, however you pronounce it, said that he was surprised that McCorvey said she was pro-choice. Although he said that he knew she harbored thoughts about the pro-life message she was telegraphing. Pavan, where's his name came up from? Pavan, who had a decades-long association with McCorvey, Corby said that she was not on the payroll of his organization, Peaceful Life, and said that he did not believe that Corey's activism was disingenuous. disingenuous, saying, I can even see her being emotionally cornered to get those words out of her mouth. But the things that I saw in 22 years with her, the thousands and thousands of conversations that we had, that was real. He later wrote. So abortion supporters are claiming Norma McCorvey, the Jane Roe of Roe versus Wade, wasn't sincere in her conversion. She was. I was her spiritual guide for 22 years. Received her into the Catholic Church, kept regular contact, spoke with her the day she died, and conducted her funeral. And then it says Abby Johnson, who worked for Planned Parenthood before joining the anti-abortion movement, said that McCorvey called her on the phone days before her death to express remorse for abortion. Johnson said that she believed McCorvey was a damaged woman who should not have been thrust into the spotlight so quickly after turning against abortion, saying, I don't have any problem believing that in the last year of her life that she tried to convince herself abortion was okay. But I know at the end of her life, she did not believe that. So basically, what I want y'all to lead from us reading this is that in Roe versus Wade, Roe first of all never had an abortion, right? She never had an abortion. She was trying to get an abortion, but by the time the law was passed, that was like 1973, and they started this in 1970. So of course, no one is pregnant for years at a time. So she had already had that baby, so she never really obtained one. So and also, um, I just want you all to that's everything you read. Like, okay, this is what I want to to know to my people, to my audience, whoever my audience is going to end up becoming. This is to you all because I know once I get my audience here, you all are gonna go back and watch all the videos and catch the nice little gems and stuff. I'm still working on it. So once you all are here, I will be sending this to you all. So to my people, I want you to know that. Oh, let me just stop sharing this because I'm basically done with this. What I want you all to know, most things in this world, they're either financially motivated or politically motivated, right? And I stand on that. Financially or politically. And I'm not saying all things. I said a majority of the things. And if you don't believe me, go do your own research. You you will soon discover exactly what I'm talking about. So just go do your own research and you will. I don't know. Just see somebody outside. Yeah, just go do your own research and you will find it out. So even in decisions like this, we have election coming up, and most things are not just because people care so much about you. Because if people care so much about you, why are so many people in this world suffering? Why are so many people homeless? Why are so many people walking around in the United States without a bite to eat? If people care, and that's including kids too, babies. Why are so many people suffering if these people care so much about you? Why so many people suffering? Tell me. Please tell me. That should answer your question. But anyway, I'm not gonna get too deep into it because I just came to share the information and if I continue on I'm gonna get, my thermometer is gonna go up a couple degrees. So I'm gonna just bring it back and then I'm just gonna quickly I have some more information, but I guess it's getting late. I just want to show you these are this lovely group of individuals right here. Let's see. Okay, so it says these are the five justices overturned Roe versus Wade. 90% of senators affirming them were men. So 91%. So these are the people, black people that we have. Uh, so we remember this actual and when Amy put herself by uh, we will remember so we have Justice Amy Coney Barrett, and we have Trump nominated Bill M. Gork. Okay. Uh, let's see. Yeah, he was put in by President George Bush. So, Clarence uh, put in by so those. Okay. So let me just quickly share this because it's getting late. I've been here for like almost 3 hours. uh, let's see. Let me share my screen. Okay, let's see. Let's go here. So this is. Let me make sure it's able to see. Oh, let me make this a lot bigger. Not this part. Okay. So this right here, this is from Yahoo News. I don't switch over to Yahoo News. I used to be on Google, but I switched to AT&T Internet, and they put me on Yahoo. I don't like Yahoo News. I want Google. But anyway, that's a whole other subject. But anyway, it says this is the Supreme Court in 2021. I'm trying to see. I know. So it was another person on the Supreme Court. The one that you recently passed. I don't think she's here right here. So this is our one that's that's making decisions on a lot of things that affect our lives. These are some of the most people in the West, if, because you didn't know. They are the ones that voted. What did I say? 73. Voted to overturn Roe versus Wade, and they decided a lot of things. A lot of decisions are made from these individuals. And the thing about it, they do serve a lifetime. They serve for a lifetime, so it's not like the president. Okay, let's just go through these 4 years. 4 years, if it's over with, we can vote on another president. No, once the supreme, once you're supreme justice, it's a lifetime appointment. So that's why you all have to be more. Y'all have to get out here and vote and to make your voice heard. You can't just sit back and when these type of things happen, get upset about it because uh, the people who want to see this stuff, these people in office, they're gonna go vote. Believe me, they're gonna go vote. All right. It says each of the nine justices serve a lifetime appointment after being nominated by the president, approved by the Senate. Okay, so the most recent member is Ketanji Brown. She's a liberal. She's due to replace Justice Stephen Breyer. So this is gonna be the newest one. Judge Jackson. She's spent summer 2022. And if you want to know how she got in, you'll have to go read the information yourself. Stephen Ketanji Jackson will be replacing him. And he's been on the court for almost 30 years. So that's him. And let's see who else we got. If you want to know more of information, you have to go get up yourself. Let's see. We got that one. Then we got Samuel Alito. He's been there since 2000, January 2006. He's a conservative. Um, then we got Lena Kagan. She was nominated in 2010. Um, okay. And then we got John Roberts. Been there since 2005. He's supposed to spend a lifetime on. They spend a lifetime. It's not like the president. It's more important than anything to vote for. Even though we don't have much say, but we have to vote for senators because the senators are the ones that approve them. So we don't vote on the budget, but we do because the president is going to nominate them, and then the senator approves them, the judge themselves, Supreme Justices. But we do have say so over the senators that come in office um, that will approve them or deny, of course. Uh, So, and then everybody knows about Clarence Thompson. I don't know if y'all remember, it is just a while ago. He went through some stuff. Y'all need to look up his name if you don't have any idea about that. I remember. I think it was very young, but I remember. He became 1991 became justice. Let's see. Well, we got Neil Gorsuch, 2017. He is the youngest nominee, conservative, and everybody. Originally call it, Trump put him in office. Greg Kavanaugh. He previously worked in a star, the independent counsel who investigate Democrat President Bill Clinton. Like, say his confirmation process was one of the most controversial in recent years, amid allegations of sexual misconduct in the 80s. He made it through. So, for the rest of his life, he'll be a Supreme Court justice. And then we have Amy. Everybody remembers just had it been like 2 years, not even 2 years ago. This was the big thing when she was voted into office. This was a big thing. You don't remember? I suggest you go Google her, right? That's that. Um, all right, let me see. Let's see. Okay, so I was gonna give you a timeline about um let's see. So I have some more interesting information here. It is getting late. Like I said, I do have a client at 4 p.m. So I don't have the time to bring any more information. And I've been here almost 3 hours already. So I hope you picked up some valuable information for along the way. And thank you, Risk Opinion, for coming to share your opinion. Um, and like I always say in my lives, this is basically just to educate my people on things that's going on in our communities, especially things that are having to do with our mental health. As that could deeply affect a person's mental health one way or the other. So I am here to just educate, my audience on the things that's going on in the community. And it's did happen. It's been 4 days now, so I just wanted to give it a few days, so before I get to this topic. So if you join later, if you're joining now and I just don't see you, if you join later, I just want to say thank you all so much for being here. Thank you so much for your time, and I'll see you next time on the next hot topic. Bye bye.